Hello, guys. Today we're going to review. Today we're reviewing the Netflix show Love, Death, and Robots. I believe that's what it's supposed to be. I know it's spelled Love, Death plus Robots, but online it's Love, Death, and Robots. I'm still going to put the plus in the title. Anyways, I'm going to review both volumes of the show so far, volumes 1 and 2, and yeah. So, the concept of the show is essentially all these different episodes and stories and all that it's an anthology. It's all their own story and their own it's all their own stories and their own thing. Sometimes different animations per episode. I think they do reuse. I think there is some episodes that reuse some animation styles. I think it's more prominent in volume 2. But that's the main gist. And they all tackle they're all science fiction esque, or they tackle the idea of love, death, or robots. Um, I also noticed some of the stories are based on other stories. Based on stories by ones I recognized was Harlan Ellison and J.G. Ballard. Um, Those are the couple names I recognize, but I know there's probably a couple more out there. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and say this show is pretty good. I think it is worth watching. It's 26 episodes currently, 18 for Volume 1 and 8 for Volume 2. They're their own episodes. They're not connected at all, none of them, that I'm aware of. But I'm also going to go and say this show, I do recommend it, but I can understand why, if you have what you call a low attention span, or you don't like sci-fi-ish things, like if you don't like, something like, for comparison, Blade Runner, if you don't like stuff like Blade Runner, or you don't like stuff like very philosophical sci-fi, you're probably not going to enjoy some of this series, because this series tackles a lot of philosophy and different strange ideas. Also very visually, more visual too. Just like those movies I just mentioned. The different art style, like there's an anime art style, I believe. One point there's a very hyper realistic art style. There's a very Battlefield 5 looking art style. Like it's so different art styles. This ain't for everyone, I would say. But this ain't for your average viewer. Like say like if you like if your basic movie taste is like Disney and Marvel and Fast and Furious, you're not gonna like that. If that's your basic movie taste, like your average moviegoer. Um, but if you do like stuff like, again, Blade Runner, or some like hardcore science fiction or philosophical kind of thing, you're probably gonna really like Love, Death plus Robots. And I'm gonna go ahead and say the first season you got lots of hate for having too much gore and too much sex in it. I think that is ridiculous. Like ridiculous, because it's in the name of the show. It's Love, Death plus Robots. Like it's not called. It's like the different forms of love. And there's many forms of death. But now I'm noticing season 2, currently is it's volume 2. Volume 2 on Rotten Tomatoes, there's only one critic review, which is a 3.5 out of 5 right now. So there's no score yet for that, but the audience score is a 49%. And I'm just sitting there going, I just finished watching the entirety of Volume 2 in one sitting. One sitting. I think it is one of the better shows I have seen that's from the past 10 years. And there's a lot of there's a lot of new ideas in it. There's a lot of like really moving ideas in it too. Um, I'm just a bit surprised it has a 49% currently right now. It could go a bit higher because I know some people have not realized that but the volume 2 has come out because they kind of marketed it kind of poorly. I find because I didn't even like if I didn't even notice that that I didn't even Google around that there was any release date, I wouldn't have even known it's coming out. Um, but yeah, so I watched the show and I sat there and looked at a couple of reviews, and some people were saying pretentious, boring, and some people were complaining that there was not as much gore as the first volume, not as much sex as the first volume. In fact, there is no sex. There is love. There isn't even nudity, you know. So, hmm. I noticed that, and then I went back and looked at older reviews of Volume 1, and they complained about that stuff being there. So I really don't understand what people want with this show, and I think the hate, and also, but I have noticed that there are some outlets giving it high praise, saying it's a bit better than Volume 1. I think they're both equally good. Um, and I think they're both a definite watch if you're into that kind of science fiction esque, death philosophy esque show. Now, like some people call pretentious because of episodes like Zima Blue. It's called one of them is that's one that comes to my mind right now. If you're a fan and you're asking me why, um, well, see the thing is, I wouldn't say it's pretentious because it's about it literally explains to you everything really. Like it explains to you that yes, his art is blue. Yes, he is this. Yes, he is like his final piece is him coming off together, coming apart. And I just don't get why that's pretentious. Or this new volume, people are saying the whole thing's pretentious. So the episode where Santa Claus is a friggin' monster thing. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna describe to you what it looks like. And these two kids see it, and then they get their presents. That's pretentious. That's right there is pretentious. And the ending of the episode gives you thought. That's pretentious. I think that's ridiculous, in my opinion. Now if you don't like the show because you don't like the show, good. You know, that's your opinion. You know. I just think that like the hate that the hate to say the season 2 is getting right now is just crazy. Um, and yeah, like I'm really I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. The first season can be a bit strange. Each episode is sometimes its own different thing. Volume 2 can be a bit strange. But I thought it was entertaining enough to watch. When it was slow, I thought the visuals were amazing. Because I like stuff like Blade Runner or something like, what's that movie? There's one episode that reminded me sort of like Perfect Blue. I can't remember the name. And there's like an episode that reminds me of like Krampus. There's episodes that remind me of Dune. There's so much like ideas in here that just wow for a show. And to be honest, I noticed that a lot of people that are tending to watch the show, they're Netflix users, they watch like what's the big name on there? And watch stuff like 13 Reasons Why, stuff like that. That's just, or they watch like what's another bad show that's out there? Yes, there's a bunch of stuff on there. They watch like average stuff, they don't like stuff like what's another, David Fincher produced a show. What did David Fincher recently do? Mank. I saw a lot of people hating Mank because it was black and white, and black and white is boring. To most people, I guess, even though really there's a lot more entertaining black and white movies out there than you think. Watch them, there's a lot of stuff to watch. I want to say that I will say my only con with this show, I think some episodes could be a bit longer. Like there could be a bit more meat to some of these episodes. Besides that, thumbs up. Thumbs up. I give it for sci-fi, I give it my highest recommendation. Easily one of the best shows that is on Netflix right now. If it stays this consistent, it could be a really good show. I have a feeling that the people that hate it right now, they're probably going to go look back and say that show is really good. Because that's what is happening with a lot of this stuff that's mass hated. Yeah, I think the show deserves a watch. Since it's getting hate, it's probably going to be canceled, or it might just get a season 3 and be ending. Because that's what happens when Netflix gets hate on a season. But yeah, I think the show is worth watching. I would suggest it. Especially if you're a fan of that Harlan Ellison type, J.G. Ballard type, like science fiction stuff. Like, they're very philosophical stuff. Like, I know I have a friend on here, Ahab, he likes that kind of thing. To an extent. I find he doesn't prefer the science aspect, like he doesn't like Asimov that much. I noticed that. And he didn't even know who Roger Zelazny was, surprisingly. But yeah, even you, Ahab, I feel like you might like this show. It's very good. I think maybe Miles might like it to an extent. I mean, I know he likes science. I don't know if he's seen like all those science movies like 2001 or Blade Runner or Red Harlan Ellison or something like that. I'll still recommend it. I think the show is worth watching. Yeah, like if you're gonna ask me for my thoughts on specific episodes, ask in the comments down below. I told you about the Zima Blue thing, but that's really just like a short, basic episode. Don't spoil anything. Like if you say spoilers for episodes, write spoilers, and then put what you want to say under it. Cause I don't want to ruin the show for anyone. And yeah, thank you for watching and listen to my review. I give this thing a thumbs up.